Flesh heart, flesh heart, flesh heart, flesh heart, flesh heart. What the heck is this game? I was kind of like scrolling through Roblox one day, and I kind of want to play games. I didn't really feel like doing anything, and I found this game, Flesh Heart, Flesh Heart, Flesh Heart, Flesh Heart. The entire game title is just Flesh Heart, all in the capitalized letters. Even the bio, not even the bio. I mean, even the about the game and stuff. When you scroll down, it's just Flesh Heart all over again. What is it even about? So of course I had to join the game. It didn't really have many people active online, and pretty much walked around. And then in this game, all you can see is just the floor is made of flash. There's flash houses. There's flash towers. It's really, really foggy. And in the distance, you can sometimes see trees with gnarly flash stretching up to the skies above. But everything is made out of flash. It's just flash, flash, flash. Some meat-looking thing. It's red, it's gooey, it's squishy, it's flash. It's what you see when the skin peels back. Yeah. What is that? Why does that rhyme? Why did I rhyme? Anyways, I pretty much walked around and I saw a few bunch of other NPCs as well, like George's Minion. There was another one called Purple, but I couldn't capture it on my screen recording. And there was another one that I also didn't manage that I only caught on the second time that I played the game. It's really odd though. It's an NPC called Blue and it's stuck in a cage. And the cage says something about how you shouldn't stand out or something. I don't remember. But yeah, it's kind of odd. Why is it that out of all the NPCs, this specific NPC with the name Blue is stuck inside a cage? Yeah, and then like when I wander around a little bit more at like the base of a tree somewhere around the floor, I found two signboards. One of them said "Friends Forever." The other one had a message in Morse code. I tried translating it, and it translated to "You can't beat me." And then the last section of it, I couldn't really translate it, so I could only leave it as Morse code. I don't know what exactly it translates to, or if it can translate to anything else, but if anybody figures it out, they can always say it in the comments or what. That would be helpful. But what exactly is this game, Flash Heart? And who created it? So I went out of the game, I looked over the creator. The creator's profile, his name is called the Devourer of Flash. Who are you? Then I click when you click down to the bio, his bio, all it says is if Chernobyl didn't explode. Chernobyl is it's just something that happened in the past. Um Let me search it up real quick. It's a disaster that happened in the past, relating to the nuclear power plant. And if you know what happens in nuclear power plants, like when it explodes and stuff, right? Like the people inside it all gets like gravely injured or even die. Anyways, I looked down in his bio. It basically says if only Chernobyl didn't explode. And then after that, it's a really, really long cipher, which I kind of read and tried to run it through something called decode. But it couldn't identify any ciphers that were used for it, and I couldn't really decrypt it. So, if anybody has any idea what on earth this cipher translates to, please let me know in the description. I'm kind of curious to know. And the thing that piqued my curiosity is the fact that I went online on Reddit and stuff, and like nobody ever like raised any question. I can't seem to find any threads or forums or any information online about this, so it's kind of mysterious. Not only that, but this profile was actually made fairly recently on 26 October 2025, which is basically last year. So I'm like, actually no, it's not fairly recently. It's been a few months already, and I kind of thought that there would at least be some like informative pages or at least one video made on it. So I was kind of surprised to see that there was nothing made on it. I had no contents at all. I was just left with this cipher that is unsolved, and I am dying to know what on earth it could be about. So I went under this guy's profile, and I also found another game that he made apart from Flash Heart, Flash Heart, Flash Heart, Flash Heart. It's called The Land of Flash, TLOF. Wow, what could this possibly mean? So in the description of it, it says where it all began, which I suppose could mean that this is the first thing that tells you the original story before the second one that I discovered, which is the game that I discovered called Flash Heart. And there's a few trigger warnings in there for like self-harm and gore, but I couldn't find why there would be like self-harm and gore in there because when I entered the game, right, it was really, really, really dark. And then there was like three paths, three brown paths that lead you to different places. There's one that leads you to this signage that says radiation warning or something. And then at the radioactive warning or something, and then if you continue following the road, right, you'll find like this skinless looking thing, human, I suppose, staring at you. And then his eyes will always be following you. And then if you go up, I think like a line of bones. I suppose it could be his spine or his ribs or something, part of his bones. There will be another sign over there in Morse code, and this translates to "I just want to be human again." And once again, the last section of the sign, right? I couldn't really decipher it. It's just dot dash dot dash dot dash dot dash. Yeah, and that's it for the first trail. Then there's the second trail. The second trail has a house, and then inside the house, right, there's like trails of flesh and blood that leads from the bed over to the window. And presumably, I suppose that the guy or whatever who was leaking out all this flesh or bleeding out kind of like just went out of the house. But I'm unsure too. And that's it for the house. On and onto the final trail. The final trail brings you all the way up to a hill. And then on top of a hill, there you will first see on your left side, there will be a canteen with two blue tables and chairs. And then in the corner, for some reason, there's Bart Simpson and Homer Simpson. Yeah, they're both T-posing, but maybe we could ignore that. And then on the right side, there will be this two-story mansion. But the second story doesn't have anything. It is the first story that's interesting. Because in the first story, in the kitchen, well, I say it's a kitchen because you only have one staff in there, and that's the only room with a staff. But in the kitchen, there will be a hole that leads you to a place underneath. This hole goes down, okay, down. And when you hop down, you find yourself underground in surrounded by walls of flesh and weird flesh meat-like things extending over your head. Like, what is this place? Inside there is like this really, really huge space. You could continue walking here and there. Eventually, in one of the sites, right, you would find like this chair in the corner. They call it happy chair. I sat on it, but I did nothing. And on the right side of the happy chair, just a little bit to the right, you will see another signboard that also once again has another Morse code. These games have a lot of Morse codes in there, but basically I tried to decipher my Morse code. This Morse code just reads, "I can't even control myself." So I would assume that this signage is actually these signs are all just placed and written from the perspective of like the guy whom I assume got hurt in a Chernobyl disaster or something. So he can't even control himself. But I don't get why he wants to control himself. Maybe it's like, I don't know, maybe he got so injured to the point where like he couldn't move at all. And also within this room, right, apart from the chair and the mysterious signage, if you continue walking, right, there's another side, and you will see a blank space. And then from like the two flash walls opposite each other, you will see two strings connecting to meet together in the middle where a heart will be attached. And this heart, it's also in the same fleshy texture as the rest of the walls and the floors and stuff. So what does it mean if the heart is in there? Well, I'm assuming that if the heart is there, it might mean that we're inside the flesh's body itself. What is the flesh's body doing underneath a kitchen of a two-story house in the middle of nowhere? I'm not sure. But yeah, this entire game is really confusing. Not only that, but once you hop down into this huge flesh body, you can't get out. You literally have to reset your character to get out. So I had to reset my character. And I went up the hill again. On the hill, we have already seen the canteen, the benches over there, the blue benches and stuff. And we've also seen the two-story house. But if we continue following the path, right, you would also see another house at the end. And inside this house, right, the only thing that stuck out to me is this picture that's hung on the wall. This picture right here, we've seen it before. We've seen it before. Because, right, if you go over to the Land of the Flash, the main page for the game, right, which is outside, and then you scroll down and you see the badges, right? They have two badges. The first one says join during an event. This badge is only available on Saturdays or Fridays. And the second badge, that's the image. That's the image that we have seen before. This is the same image that we see in that house. Then the only title the image has is be the last winner in hide and seek. Why would there be hide and seek? What is up with these games? The most mysterious thing of all that I don't get is why these games even have so many visits. The first game that I found, FLESHHEART, has a total of 16.5k visits as of recording this. The Land of the Flash, the first game before the FLESHHEART, that was I suppose should have lore that's related to the second game, has a total of 84.5k visits. What's the meaning of this? What do this possibly mean? Not only that, but I also still can't decipher what on earth that cipher is about. The cipher in the creator's bio. Like, what is this? How do you even solve this? And the creator, well, he doesn't have any social links or anything. So I'm just really confused altogether. And I'm really curious to know. What's the big deal about this mysterious game? Anyways, yeah, that's it for my yap session. Thanks, guys.